some once your guilt surfaced. Now, children deal with stress much differently than adults do. Child can cry, get a hug from mommy, and she's fine. Whereas adults, we like to bottle the stress deep down inside until it bursts. Then need a hug from mother's little helper, aka Valium, and then curse our own parents for not coddling us enough. Look, there's a lot to be stressed about in life nowadays. Climate change, the Putin, Xi Jinping, Kim Jong-un summits, and if the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift dynasty will last. So, every once in a while, you come across someone who's truly a dick or a witch. And they may harbor the Fathermucker gene as well. And while you can extend common courtesies, do not overextend. For if you're seeking gratitude, seek elsewhere. For a DB seed only becomes a DB plant. And like the damn vine that strangled 3/4 of my vegetable garden this year, you cannot clip the vine, for a circumcision will not rule out the FM juice. You must uproot it to allow the soil to have the vegetables grow. Now, I bet you guys didn't know that the carrot has the best poker face of all the vegetables. It's got a peacock tail-like thing up front, up top. Could be hiding a wee nub down below. Now, the butternut squash is the couch potato of all vegetables. It is covered in butter and is soft on the inside. Now, if you are a single woman and looking for an older man as a partner, you've got two options. The first is being the financial support for someone who cannot cut the umbilical cord from their own mother. And the second is being chosen as a vessel by a guy who only wants to promote his own genetic code, and therefore is having the role of a domestic being. Therefore, giving away any semblance of your own ambitions. And our friend Caitlin, the PA, months ago, had such an encounter. So, got me thinking, maybe it would just be easier to be a lesbian. There's not that kind of power struggle and that kind of relationship unless that lesbian is Hillary Clinton. Now, I am not registered as a Democrat or a Republican, yet I get texts from both these groups all the time. The other day I got a text from the Department of War, from the Department of Defense, which is going to cost hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion, of government waste. And they wanted to know if I would support their effort to completely rid wokeness from the military. So I'm afraid to say that it's only those who are sleeping who are in control of our nuclear weapons. Now, I have the privilege to take care of not only patients, but also care for their family members. Recently, I admitted a guy with metastatic lung cancer to the brain and put him on the step-down unit in a comfortable room. And while he was in decent spirits, his daughter, let's call her Malibu Barbie, was all worked up. I used my best humor to ease the tension, and also told them about my own surviving brain cancer, and the tension got a little better. The next day, he was medically stable to go to a different floor, but once he gets down there, I get a message from the nurse that says, Malibu has a couple questions for you. So I call her up, sum everything up, explain the plan, and she usually interrupts going, I cannot believe that you, as a cancer survivor, would send my father to this small room where I, the non-patient, was forced to sleep in a reclining chair. To which I wanted to say, well, you're spoiled, sassy can. He's not forced to sit in the chair because you can go home and sleep in your own bed. But the politically minded me said, I will talk to the nurse who can try to talk to the bedboard to see if we can get you a bigger room. I had another patient who was a vegetable, most likely a cucumber, from a prior stroke, has a peg, a trach, stage 4 decubitus ulcers, who literally blinks to communicate, and was asked by the case manager if I could call the daughter, who had never been in the hospital the 2 months that he had been there, to give her an update. And part of me wanted to say, well, he's training for a half Ironman and published his first novel, but being polite again, I just said, he's medically stable for discharge. Now, one of the most anxiety-provoking things is losing your wallet. And for the first time last week in my life, I did just that. So I got up at my usual old man hour to go to the gym, and I'm looking in the usual spots, the bureau, my pants pocket, to no avail. I go to the gym, I search the car, and freaking out a little bit. So naturally, it's time for the brain to do the blame game. And who better to blame than my daughter's two very cute little friends over there, who I really love, but who get clear joy in trying to piss me off. They love jumping on my bed, throwing things in the house, and they happen to be in my house the night prior. So, more tangential thoughts occur, and I think, while thou should not covet thy neighbor's wife, there's no stipulation that says, thou shalt not murder thy neighbor's child, should they be the guilty party. But cooler thoughts prevailed again, and I did recall that I was at New Realm the night before as well, sitting on the very comfortable couch, rehearsing for this set. Now, many of you may be thinking, you know, Aaron, maybe it's time to cut back on the brewskis. To which I say, nay, nay. I never get drunk, and only have one beer when I go out, and I'm drinking water tonight, guys, so I didn't forget this whole set. So, I'm going to go back. I'm going to check my credit cards. Nothing charged on the debit account. So after work, I will go back to New Realm and search the crevices of the couch. I go back there, can't find anything, but I don't give up all hope. I approach the bartender and say, I may have left my wallet here last night. So she says, well, what are the names on the cards? I give them to her. She goes to the back, and 5 minutes later, relief! So, I go give her a huge hug and acknowledge that, you know what? The majority of people are good and honest. And although I've been making fun of a lot of them throughout this set, it is I last week who earned the Darwin Award. Thank you guys so much. This is awesome.
I always saw Team
Thank you.
Exactly.